11, the gentleman from California, Mr. Garamendi, is recognized for 60 minutes as a designee of the minority leader.
Mr. Speaker, before we start on our dialogue, I expect to have my colleague from New York here in a few moments. I want to thank my colleague from South Carolina, Walter Jones, North Carolina. Walter, well, let me put it this way, Mr. Jones, every day and every week you speak on this floor about the Afghanistan war and previously about the Iraq war. And you carry a message that is extremely important, one that I agree with, and one that I would hope that our colleagues here in Congress would take up this issue in a very strong and determined way to bring this Afghanistan war to an end. I thank the President for bringing the Iraq war to an end, and now there's yet another task for all of us to do, and that is to end this continued use and abuse of the American soldiers. They endure much, and it's time for us to bring them home. We thank them for their service. We see them as they return. Some of my colleagues and I are working on a major effort to try to deal with more than 365,000 of those men and women that have returned that are suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, dealing with everything from suicides to depression and other issues as they return home, and many of them still in the military dealing with those issues. We also have the traumatic brain issues. And so there's much to be done, and there'll be much more to be done for those that are currently suffering. And the longer this war in Afghanistan continues, the more men and women will be suffering from all sorts of medical, physical, and mental issues. So, Walter, thank you so very much for what you're doing here on the floor, day in and day out, and reminding us that it's time for us to end this war. What I want to spend some time on today is really talking about America's middle class. The middle class in America has suffered. For the last 25 years, the American middle class's circumstances have stagnated, and in the last 5 years, actually 6 years, have seriously declined. We've seen this in the statistics. We've seen them in the economic statistics. The only way the American middle class has been able to sustain its economic position has been for both husband and wife or children to join in providing the income for the family. It's no longer a single person income sustaining the American middle class. It is about our policies here on the floor of Congress and the Senate that has led to the decline of the American middle class. Specific policies have been enacted over the last 2 decades that have hollowed out the opportunities that the American middle class has counted on. Specifically, manufacturing in America. Once 20 million Americans and their families were in the manufacturing sector. They enjoyed a good salary. A good hourly wage was available to them, such that one individual in that family working in the manufacturing sector was able to support the family, own a home, take a vacation, buy a boat, provide for the college education. That's not the case today. Only 11 million and a few thousand beyond that are actually engaged in manufacturing in America today. So what happened to the